Good morning. This is Jerry Galke, Strategic Marketing Services President and columnist for Top Producer, commenting today on the important, or what we thought would be an important, August 12th USDA crop report, where they were going to take a look at some of the eastern Corn Belt states for acres again, as well as North Dakota, and then also get an idea on what people think their crops are like. And this is normal course of the business for USDA. In the August report, they get ideas from their reporters, farmers, that about their crop and potential and so forth. So surprisingly, they didn't change anything in corn, but they did raise the soybean acres in about 200,000 bushels. In our survey, we saw maybe 180,000 bushel or 180,000 acre versus their 200,000 acre increase. So that was close, but we also saw maybe a 400,000 decrease in corn acres in the eastern Corn Belt. The USDA didn't see that. It was ironic that they didn't do much changing at all. I'm sure we're questioning North Dakota's big drop in acres. That was confirmed. They didn't change North Dakota, didn't change Illinois. So I guess if a person has a dispute with the acres planted being higher this year than what we thought originally, even with the delayed planting and the prevent planting and the wetness, we'll have to wait till the October 12th crop report, where the USDA, by that time, will have all the acres reported in by farmers, which is much more accurate than getting a survey, perhaps. But ironically, we didn't see any change in it. So either the USDA didn't believe what they saw and decided to wait, or they everything was confirmed by the reporters as saying what I intended to do the first week in June is exactly what I got done, which means all those corn acres in Illinois, Ohio, and Indiana that were intended to get planted actually got planted. I still question it, and I think when October comes, that may be the significant, maybe we put a bottom in the market by then. But in the meantime, they did increase feed usage since October by 100 million bushels for corn, and I don't know if that means that they're saying that the hog guy just isn't going to liquidate, or that we're not going to liquidate as much, because that's 100 million bushels more. They did increase ethanol by 100 million. I'm not surprised there, because ethanol demand has been very good and crude oil is hanging in there. And they increased exports by 150 million. So even though we increased, kept the acres the same, and the yield, they went up 6 bushels an acre, which is really on the harvested acres, going about 80 million acres, a little bit less. They cut that a little bit, but say 80 million acres, that's 480 million bushels more production, and yet they only increased carryover by 70 million bushels, which a lot of people in the trade think is optimistic. They don't think we'll see the increase in the feed demand because of the poor livestock profitability. Either the USDA knows something we don't, or the USDA is going to come in there and also buy up more beef like they're doing in pork, or they're going to take a lot of this stuff and butcher it and put it in the freezer, or give it to food banks or whatever. You would think they would know enough to do something like that. At any rate, the market is looking at this, and of course, all things being equal from here, if we don't get a frost until the third week in October, and we repeat last year, then that yield jumps another 5 bushels, maybe 6 or 7 more. And if you look at it, we have ratcheted up demand probably for about as much as the USDA could do right now. I think down the road a ways, barring an early frost, and we'll have to watch these 30-day forecasts, and of course week by week actually in the northern plains. You could be seeing the market trade a 2 billion bushel corn crop. That'll be certainly a test of something below $3 right now. We $3.14 has got a hold the recent low. We were down pretty sharply on the open this morning, and that doesn't seem to be letting up too much, except that we need to see today's close. And again, as we look at this market, how the market closes on a report like this is a lot more important than what the report said. We didn't get much different acres number than we had, in June 30th. So even though we were expecting less, say some were expecting 500,000 acres less, that wouldn't have changed the carryover much. But the increase in yield is what most people expected, around 160. So we're back to maybe equilibrium, and we'll see how today, in most people's psychological thinking, and a lot of it's going to be psychological going forward from here. Not only do we have enough grain, and is the crop getting bigger, but what about the future? This is the futures market, and we're looking ahead into, will the stimulus program work? Will we put money back in people's pockets, not only here but worldwide? The USDA seems to think that the livestock sector is going to get better because we're going to feed more feed. Well, they may be optimistic, they may not be, but the market's got to look at all this, and also, and the export market looks better, according to them. Or they're saying the prices, are going to be lower by a dime or so in corn. Does that mean now we've lowered the price worldwide low enough to where we're buying back demand, that huge billion bushel demand that we lost in just 1 year in corn? Are we going to buy that back now? So a lot is dependent upon the financial situation in the world as we go forward from there, and of course the weather. The soybeans is the other kicker that's looking stayed very good, and the USDA didn't change the carryover going into this new year at 110 bushels, a million bushels. That's about rock bottom, I guess, pipeline supplies. But they lowered the carryover from July to August for the new crop that we haven't harvested yet, 40 million bushels. Agreeing with most of the bulls out there that for the next 6 to 8 months going forward here, after September 1st, going into until South America harvest, we will likely be in the U.S. the only good source of soybeans. And overnight, China bought another 110,000 tons of beans. They keep on buying, and the USDA actually lowered the exports by 10 million bushels, but also then lowered the yield by about a bushel. So they're looking at warm weather probably being good for corn, but maybe being stressful in beans. And I think if there's any crop in the United States that's got a problem, it's going to be beans coming to fruition. North Dakota has got serious trouble. They're late. If you look at the pod setting versus last year, we're behind, versus 5 year, we're way behind. Dough setting in corn is also behind, but this weather will help that. So we started out late in beans, and we are late in beans, and there are a lot of people in North Dakota that think some of those beans won't even get harvested. We'll see, but we've got 4 million acres of beans in North Dakota. You lose 1 million acres of beans, that's 40 million bushels, and this report today said you can't afford to do that. We can't afford to have any worse than a 41.7 bushel an acre that they're looking at in yield in beans. When we actually look at ratings, it would suggest something not much better than last year, which was 39.5. So it looks like we're giving the benefit of the doubt to beans as to the yield, and cutting the potential for corn yield-wise. So going forward, I think we got to see lower corn prices, certainly not higher prices. I like selling calls out of the money. The 340 calls, or looking at what the high this week was, and if we could close above 340 or 350 this week, that would look pretty good, and that would tell us that the market is looking way ahead and not concerned about oversupply right now. In soybeans, you got to be. I don't want to cash contract any beans. I will hedge a few. I'm 30% sold in beans now. $10 is a lot. We may see 11. We probably will see 12 in beans in order to get South America to plant them. So remember that this basis this fall should be tight in beans. So going forward from here, and by October 12th, we'll be a lot smarter in this market. But negative corn, negative wheat. We're going to feed some wheat, and wheat will compete with corn as well as for a feed grain. And positive on the bean side, or certainly neutral from here. I wouldn't bother. I think it wouldn't change my mind a bit if beans would drop 30 cents today, and they may just turn right around and go up 50 the next day. So watch how the market closes today, and for certain for the week. We may be very surprised by the end of the week. That's it for today, and thank you very much.